Welcome to Season 3, Episode 39 of the Jordan B.Peterson podcast. I'm Michaela Peterson, Jordan's daughter. This is a very recent interview with Chris Voss. The video version of the podcast is available on my YouTube channel. I originally invited Chris Voss onto my podcast, but Dad wanted to join, and obviously I was thrilled with that opportunity. I love podcasting with Dad. So if you want the video format, type in Chris Voss, Jordan Peterson on YouTube, and I'm sure the video will pop up. Chris Voss is an American businessman, author, and the CEO of the Black Swan Group, which teaches people how to negotiate. He co-authored Never Split the Difference, a book on how to negotiate, and a book on his experience as an FBI negotiator. This episode is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community, and it's offering our listeners a free trial of their premium membership. If you find yourself scrolling through socials or on Netflix too much, something like Skillshare is a better use of your time. There are so many fascinating classes there on topics including illustration, design, photography, animation, or productivity, starting a small business, coding. I think I'm going to be taking Greg McEwen's course on productivity in the new year. Skillshare offers classes designed for real life so you can squish your learning experience into your life without putting your life on hold. Their short classes are a great fit for a busy routine. You can create real projects, get the support of fellow creatives so you can accomplish real growth. Explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/Peterson, where our listeners get a free trial of premium membership. That's 2 weeks free at Skillshare.com/Peterson. I also wanted to mention Dad's self-authoring program because of the new year. With code MP, you can get 15% off. He wanted me to mention it because of New Year's resolutions, and his program is absolutely fantastic, a no-frills approach to goal setting and planning your future. The code MP works on his self-authoring suite, which gets you to write your past, present, and future and figure out goals and how to accomplish them. That's selfauthoring.com, code MP, for 15% off. Great for your New Year's resolution. Hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, remember to subscribe.
Very pleased to have with us today, us being Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson, Chris Voss, who's currently CEO of Black Swan Consulting, was formerly the FBI's top international kidnapping negotiator, and is the author of Never Split the Difference, a book offering to teach its readers the fine art of successful negotiation. Thanks very much for joining us today, Chris. I enjoyed your book a lot, and I'm looking forward to your stories.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure. It's awesome to be on with you guys.
Much appreciated. I'm interested in negotiation because I'm a clinical psychologist, and a lot of what clinical psychologists do is negotiate with their clients for behavioral change, but also teach their clients to negotiate successfully with the people around them to get what they want. So negotiation is a very underdeveloped skill in most people.
Right.
So I'm wondering how you came to develop an interest in it, and we'll go from there.
Well, let me quote the great, quote the great actor Rocky Balboa. I couldn't sing or dance. I was with the FBI. I was a SWAT guy. I had to get out of SWAT because of recurring injuries, but I want to stay in crisis response. And so, we had hostage negotiators. I knew they were around. I didn't know what they do. It didn't seem that hard, right? I could talk to terrorists is what I thought. Got into it. It was fantastic. It was, I had to sort of fight my way in, not really fight my way in. I had to work to get in. I was eminently unqualified before I became a negotiator, but, my first step was to volunteer on a suicide hotline, and the opportunity to influence people in short periods of time blew me away. Really counterintuitive methods, and one thing led to another. I taught negotiation at Harvard and collaborated on a book with some people, and been teaching negotiation ever since. It's phenomenal. It's great to have a positive impact. I'm sure as you feel, you have the opportunity to have a positive impact on people. It's enormously satisfying.
So What made you think that the skills that you had picked up as a negotiator in these crisis situations would be applicable to people in their day-to-day concerns?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I suspected early on when I was volunteering on the hotline, like, is this just people in crisis or is it just people? And I started using the skills in my day-to-day life, and it impacted all my relationships and made me a better hostage negotiator. And when I first started collaborating with Harvard and they invited me to come and attend the law school's negotiation course, the instructors up there were teaching and were saying, like, look, man, you're doing the same thing we're doing. The stakes are different, but the dynamics are absolutely the same. And that was, with sort of their blessing and their understanding, ended up teaching there later, but the dynamics are the same. It's human behavior, regardless of what the circumstances are. We're wired in certain ways. And as human beings, we all have the same wiring, as you know.
So I'm going to get into some of your, what would you call, tactical strategies, I guess. And speaking of the clinical connection, when I was reading your book, the first thing that came to mind is that the techniques in general sounded very much like those that were put forth by Carl Rogers to ensure successful clinical transformation. And lo and behold, about halfway through the book, you make direct reference to Carl Rogers. And he was he was really the formalizer, I think, of the idea of active listening and reflection, particularly the idea that you should put yourself in the shoes of the other person. But also, to ensure that you're hearing them properly, you should repeat what they said back to them in paraphrased manner and see if you actually got the gist of their conversation.
Right.
So, to some degree, you concentrate on that, I guess, in the section. Well, it's not so much labeling, statement mirroring, I guess, is your term, with the pause.
Well, there's a couple. I mean, we've really sort of really defined all the different skills in real specific detail. And that was one of the things that the Harvard guys said to me, because we're on the same path, but FBI, we're a little bit further down it. And they said, we're both talking about the same skills. You've defined them with much more clarity. Because principally in law enforcement, cops, FBI agents, we want specifics of how to do something, and then we'll take it and we'll road test it. So mirroring versus labeling, we would call two different things. And even the different types of labels. And, we take what we learned, what the world learned, we collective mankind in psychology, and we added neuroscience. We started trying to hit very specific parts of the brain to create